Thank you so much, girls. It's not really possible to live up to that because I realized that on paper that I actually sound quite competent and professional, and then I go up here and I'm just me. So apologies for that. And adding further insult to injury, I'm going to read new work from my current project, working with the Cambridge University Library Bestiary to explore the imaginative yoking of abject alienity and otherness. So there are some poems about the bestiary, using found bestiary text, writing through fabulous animal amalgams, mainly hyenas, as well as being kind of like a document of consciousness about my otherness and othering within elite academic space. It's going so well, so well. Okay, so it's called Volga Era Feral Subject, and I'm going to start with a poem if I can find it, which is called, for fuck's sake. This is what I should have done when I'm sitting there. There we go. This is called Sparring Fox. And for this reason, we call prostitutes wolves, because they devastate the possessions of their lovers. That's in the bestiary. I sab myself, ta very much, oh Trojan dog absurdly honeyed. I sab myself, the dunno of this nausea is heavy. I sab myself, this fake anatomical waste of little reasons. I sab myself, my power is in my paws. I sab myself and all the dirty filters of paralysis. I sab myself, a vehement fox as able as the birds. I sab myself, the escapist scut that haunts my dreams. I sab myself to flowers when I think no one is looking. I sab myself, foot mute through your eroded thunder nightly. I sab myself, my grammar of vigilant whelpings. I sab myself, I am the symbol and the sermon. I sab myself, oh leaky forcing dog, knocking over piglets like Marxist republics, knocking over lambs like rotten skettles. I sab myself, and don't you wish your girlfriend was as high and meadow fed. I sab myself, axe through obmutescent sky, inherited crow dissolving. I sab myself, announce an unfavorable omen. I sab myself, entwine and urge. I sab myself, imperative tread on the stair moon at its most numbly censored. I sab myself, babbling kiddle baby steps. I sab myself, pitching a creep, nailing my twitch to a manger. I sab myself, triple my reddest, thrusting the older veil and ruin me. I sab myself, mortuary heil. I sab myself, all those dead and coming coins, all those slotty heads. I sab myself, remandered remainder dog without possibility of parole. I sab myself, sparring fox. I sab myself, the breath becoming fast, the telling green, this long administrative bone. I sab myself, slutwalk 2010, the English collective of prostitutes. I sab myself, Frisian vector, the robin choked. I sab myself, rasping, I saturate their dancer's mark. I sab myself, raincoat as holidays and watery perv, baby the whole dark through. I sab myself, fecundity. I sab myself, patron culprit. I sab myself, the story cornered, who's telling this thing anyway. I sab myself, a broken focus, luminous and transitive. I sab myself, Eros in his gown of total violets. I sab myself, shedding marrow. I sab myself, oh serially girdled hound, a wobble fox, the riddle nixed. I sab myself, predicament of pine. His cum smells of resin and I want him. The shot fibers of a catwalk male. I sab myself, Times text, the fall collection, breezy opals. I sab myself, white confetti. I sab myself, noir of wanton cells. I sab myself, present space, this slender reciprocity. I sab myself, 2007, a loose metaphoric exchange with a skinhead's boot. I sab myself, a melody of stinking sheepfolds. I sab myself, my pelt and alternative furs. I sab myself, the tricky buzz of being near, warbling throwback your Neanderthal mutt. I sab myself, fatuous rehash, the one with the hard sums, the one with the blood work, the one with the vitamins and x-rays. I sab myself, deaf ears, singularly whispered. I sab myself, Pride 2001. I sab myself, livid names for the most temptations, the mossy bars, florally ad nauseam. I sab myself, trembling fraud. I sab myself, there's a portrait of me making big, open-handed gestures in an attic. I sab myself, oh, lushy beast, impeccable bride of missed opportunity. I sab myself, for the bigger springtime, forward of pale assumptions. I sab myself, lean and inevitable learning dog. I don't want anybody else. I don't want anybody else. When I think about you, I sab myself. Thanks. I'm gonna do, there we go. And this one is kind of, yeah, I'm just gonna do it. It's just Cambridge Morning Pages. And this is made kind of like thoughts and things I've overheard and things I've read about. And this will probably be the last one because it's quite long, and then you'll all need to just like go get a chalk ice or like, yeah, just go throw up outside or something, I don't know. Cambridge Morning Pages, so, okay. In my stalking feet, beautiful, this sky on expenses, and you, well-met mammal, misguided and exquisite, between swagger and reserve, skanking your pale upsetter's mojo. Animal, through a breakneck bogus dusk, the moon, helpless and technical, with its forecast of paltry reprieves. Life sciences loom is a dead fence, animal, braised and gensed, like a dark settee. Therapized syllables straddled and pushed. Axe in its Neolithic etiquette, exquisite cutting mojo is the stuff of nightmares, gracefully proportioned in my stocking feet. My hoarder's habits in my poacher's coat, beautiful, the first bite of extinction's day-glow cherry, my hurt gulp as I don't make it to the... So many nodding mouths, clumsy allegorical bones. I'm a prone ghost, I'm ghost prone. Animal, you soused and soncy wreck, 1,000 squinting tropes apply to go formally sauntering. Matchbook obsessive, a phrase for all the stations of this pain. Your pages have been proofed in my stocking feet, bloodshot hypotheticals. Cambridge eats my rootless, scrutinizing mojo. This maze of ravenous errors, vulgar fauna, some designer skinhead, his violently persisting mouth purged of all your urgent folly, trailing about a cold swell under us, thinking of animals all day long. That woman looks through me, her depthless veto, the sibilant and numbing air. It was shame masquerading as shame, my accent lushly weaponized. Oh, what a fucking liberty, 1,400 asking hoodies, pastoral's essentialist shepherd, normie wasp banging on about, clutch my pearls, my beaten please. Oh, are you corpsey dope, the usual profiteering gibberish, irksome flesh in the stock room. I feed dead things, the slyly grifting fox and index glitch. I misspell words. How do you think it's going so far? Oh, the scathed capillaries singing. Oh, you predictable and excessive baby, your choir of wicked roses. The bruised skin hurried open like a steamed bum. By rejecting error, the dog finds the truth, returns to its vomit, vicious and despoiled. Idealized euphoria, yes, a perfect and guttering monkey. The vivisectionist unrolls my brain in scarlet banners, and my heart and my business be with the hounds, meaning my heart will go on. Speaking of, the ideal entity serves as compensation for wretchedness. Discuss. The abject entity concentrates or burlesques that wretchedness in your own time. In a tinfoil hat, bleeding out like a harpooned monster, an erstwhile colleague. What are you doing down there with my boot in your face? These are Viper's maxims. Lucky passions, oh, Diddums is professionally brave. She was vilely calm and I hated her, making weird eye contact, striking my chest like a stunted hoof, hitting the nonsensuous similarity. Language all frivolous lurking, full squeal ahead, stupefied and force. I'm a pig, I'm a bag of velvet mutinies. That woman says, get out in her best Amityville voice. Trembling and inbred, pitiful and collapsing, slogans grafted and called the thistles. Sing mojo, rose petal, pennyroyal, schlep what idea I had of myself to, oi, you lyric shitheads, gagged on a bland generality. Tell me, who's that girl running around with you? She's the draggy dog scooting across council linoleum. She's a frilly wee resistible daughter of her own regional dialect, spit on her halt mithering. Nah, you'd break against her bobber. Tell me, who's that girl in her stocking feet? You gurning void. She assembles the pit bull inside of her mouth. All the Rottweilers of a country rupture, real, thorough, true, of a afraid example, the eye enjoined to be sanctioned, written up small, quaint and warped. Gotta love poor people, their camp exaggerations. Oh, orphic and facile, both stringent and supple, a wild commitment of energy. Shadows some faltered, hearkening, dim light flared and slashed through the library window. This specific doing body, here now, my unhinged attention, revolutionary irony. Baudelaire was like, We all have the Republican spirit in our veins, like we have syphilis in our bones. We have all contracted democracy and syphilis. Charlie B in Belfast circa 1998. Vertigo to be pinkly swindled, the coldly encircling dizzy attempts on the possible. Beautiful, this skyline folded into itself like a used tissue, like the dross of your strivers' I ams. The repeat, the interval, the gut in its good offices wants to. Stiletto, both violent and vulnerable, splintered numerals of lust, walking a girl like an aimed animal. All days with the doves where God poured out his grace and disposition and commonly exalted her widowhood esteemed. My plighted frenzy, this worker bee, this eligible rude boy, his hard little body of forensic gonk, a large care worn in obvious flowers, privileged but powerless yet capable. Oh well, back to the garden, the lovely cruel discrepant thorn, the bower waste them by sucking, the corroding sepsis tiny, destroying the bones and the body. What human love can compare to the compassion of fishes? Liz Truss, her deathly airborne mojo. A kiss is an oath, erodes the lying mouth that offered it my stocking feet, trotters in jelly. Model my details in fondant creme pat through a piping bag twee cake weeping its black gnash. Freeze me until I set, recoil, erupt, touch true emptiness, the spoilers of somnolence. That woman says me to muddle her numpty reductions. They're very much like that, the notable and mean. Denounced, outed, doxed, but not necessarily in that order. Stringent and flinching, hot off the press with a pragmatist mojo. Bought a black dress secondhand to go with my non-general regrettery Anne. Animal, predictable, kindred in our oghams, in our straightened kennings, in our rambles, in our warrants. I take myself apart by the photocopier. Beautiful, the dim rusk of my face, cloven, cleaved. Thank you.